Hello, everyone, and welcome to AudioSummary. Here, we break down your favorite books and movies into short, powerful audio stories, so you get the heart of the story fast. If you love storytelling, but don't always have the time, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let's dive right in. I'm still here. 2024. In 1970, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil was under a military dictatorship. Eunice Paiva, played by Fernanda Torres, was at the beach with some of her children when they found a stray dog. They named him Pimpeo and decided to take him home, even though they knew their parents wouldn't allow them to keep the dog. Eunice had 5 children: Marcelo, Vera, Eliana, Nalu, and Maria Beatriz, also called Baby. Her husband, Rubens, played by Selton Mello, was a former congressman who lost his position after the 1964 coup d'etat, which forced him into self-imposed exile. One day, while Vera was out with friends, they were stopped and frisked by officers at a checkpoint. At home, Eunice and Rubens watched the news and learned that the Swiss ambassador had been kidnapped. They discussed plans to leave Brazil as the situation became more dangerous. 2 of Rubens' close friends were preparing to seek shelter in London. Rubens kept his work a secret from his family, but he sent Vera to London with the couple to make sure the shelter was safe. After a few months, Vera sent letters and a roll of Super 8 film to her family. Later, a man named Dr. Schneider, played by Luis Retazzo, arrived at the Paiva home accompanied by armed men. They demanded Rubens come with them to give a deposition because of his history in Congress. After Rubens left, Schneider and the men stayed in the house, making Eunice uneasy. She searched Rubens' study and found several written documents among his belongings. Eunice and Eliana were soon taken from their home for questioning. They were forced to wear black hoods as they were escorted to a station. At the station, Eunice was separated from Eliana and questioned about Rubens' alleged communist ties, which she denied. She was also asked about Vera in London. Eunice was imprisoned for further questioning, while Eliana was released after 24 hours. Eunice spent 12 days in captivity, during which she witnessed and heard the cruelty inflicted by soldiers on other prisoners. When she finally returned home, she was traumatized but focused on her children's safety. Eunice later met with Rubens' colleagues and fellow expatriates to raise awareness in the press about Rubens' disappearance and the imprisonment of herself and Eliana. When she returned to the station, the officers denied Rubens was there, and the family lacked enough evidence to prove he had been arrested. Eunice then went to her children's school to speak with their teacher, Martha, played by Carla Rebus. Martha had been seen in a photograph with Rubens during Eunice's questioning. Martha admitted she had been taken with Rubens, but feared reporting his arrest due to possible retaliation. Eunice also questioned Rubens' friend and co-worker, Boca, played by Dan Stulbach, about anything Rubens might have been involved with. At home, the family was devastated when Pimpeo was hit and killed by a car. Eunice spotted the men who had been spying on the family and angrily ordered them to leave. The family buried Pimpeo in their backyard. Later, Eunice received a letter from Martha confirming she had heard Rubens' name during her imprisonment. A friend named Felix informed Eunice that Rubens was reported to have died in combat. Vera eventually returned from London. A journalist photographed Eunice and her children smiling, though Vera looked serious, right before Eunice spoke to him about Rubens' disappearance and death. Eunice then announced to her children that she was going back to college and would send them to live with their grandparents in Sao Paulo. By 1996, Eunice had graduated from law school and was working as a lawyer on cases involving repossessed land. The dictatorship had ended long before. She was summoned to the courthouse with her grown children, Marcelo, Baby, and the others, where they were officially given Rubens' death certificate. Outside, Eunice spoke to reporters who asked how she felt about finally receiving closure. That night, Eunice looked over old photographs and numerous articles about Rubens' death. In 2014, the family gathered in Sao Paulo, with Eunice's children now having children of their own. Eunice, now played by Fernanda Montenegro, was living with Alzheimer's. On the news, she saw a report confirming that Rubens was among many victims murdered by the military regime. His body never recovered. This triggered Eunice's memories of her husband. Outside, the family gathered for a photo, with Eunice at the center. The final text reveals that Rubens Paiva was confirmed to have been murdered by the Brazilian government, and those responsible were never brought to justice. Eunice devoted the rest of her life to her work as a lawyer and activist, never stopping her search for answers until her death in 2018. Thanks for listening to Audio Summary. Don't forget to subscribe, and stay curious. Until next time,